morning weather.
And welcome back. Looking out here, the Watkins Glen Skycam. Sun's starting to rise across the area, and with that, temperatures will also begin their rise, making their way through the 70s here in just a little bit. But right now, we're still in the 60s for a good chunk of the area. 69 Bath and Watkins Glen, 62 towards Elmira, 67 Wellsboro, and 66 Germania. A lot of the interior part of the reach still sitting in those 60s for right now. A couple of 70s on the outskirts there, 73 in Penn Yan and 70 in Ithaca. Certainly want to point out the UV index going to be on the high side, a 10, and that does not take very long to burn. At least for me, it also does. So I'm certainly going to apply the sunscreen out there. Certainly would recommend it as well, staying hydrated, getting some shade out there, as the sun is, that's not the only thing it's going to be on our radar today. Of course, got some thunderstorms, and this humidity can be absolutely brutal as temperatures will soar up into the 90s, 91s for Elmira, Erin, Watkins Glen, as well as 94 up towards Ithaca, 92 potentially in Corning. But if you're not at 90, you're very close to it, around 88 and 87, especially over towards parts of Woodhull, Westfield, and several others, Tioga and Steuben counties. And looking at feels like temperatures, well, certainly going to feel pretty rough out there. Upper 90s for a handful of us, mid 90s for a good chunk of us too, especially up towards the Finger Lakes region, even down into parts of Elmira, Tioga Village, as well as Sayre in Pennsylvania. So you certainly want to be on the lookout for quite humid conditions, though tomorrow was looking much better and much more tolerable with feels like temperatures in the 70s and 80s. As for radar, really not too much happening right now. Still seeing a little bit of clouds out there here. More of them will start to push into the region, but as for right now, not too much happening this morning. Yet another quiet but still quite humid morning. Heat advisory remains in effect. This is going to go from 11 o'clock later this morning to 8 p.m. later in the day. Chemung, Tioga County, New York, Tompkins, Schuyler, and Yates counties, you're under this heat advisory, but the whole region can expect absolutely brutal heat out there, feeling like 90 plus across the area. In addition to that, we've got severe weather potentially on our plate later today. Marginal risk for most of the region, except Bradford County, more or less in the general risk of thunderstorms, as well as parts of Tioga County that are a lot closer to Interstate 86, also under that general risk as opposed to marginal. But we're still looking at the potential of some thunderstorms to roll through the area. They're making their way in the early afternoon and start to train across there. Not looking super organized until we get into around the late afternoon. More of these start to push out once we get to around 8 o'clock later on in the day. But still certainly want to factor those in to your day, to your plans here later on in the day. And a few more showers remain possible there for Tuesday, though the rain chances are much lower for tomorrow than they are for today. As for the 7-day forecast, we're in the lower 90s, immediately lower 80s tomorrow, so big changes on the way despite the heat later on today. We could see some more pop-up thunderstorms coming around later on in the week thanks to some humidity and low temperatures providing not a lot of relief in the evenings, staying in the mid to upper 60s later on this week.